Hey, everyone.
I'm sorry. I farted.
Right, best get all that out now.
Oh, yeah.
Better out than in, I always say.
Wrong movie. But hey,
And you never say that.
What? No, I always say that all the time. I'm like, Johnny, get it out. It's better for you.
I've been told not to do that anymore.
welcome to the Nostalgia Effect, the podcast where we examine movies from our childhood through the lens of adulthood and make fart jokes, apparently.
I had a fart. I'm sorry.
Fart jokes are great. They're like comedy gold.
I mean,
It depends on how they're used.
only a girl would say that.
Yeah.
Okay, they used fart jokes in the new animated Addams Family, and it wasn't good.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that whole movie looked like a ill-conceived notion.
Yeah. Well, anyways, I'm Amy, and we got Joe and Johnny here, as usual.
What up, party
Hello.
people?
Oh, wow. You guys switched sides.
I'm wearing a hat.
He is.
Very dapper hat.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you have a bow tie
I got a bow tie.
I'm wearing a manky old t-shirt.
Yeah.
and a leather jacket?
Yep.
You look
And
like a real
shoes.
piece of shit.
Shoes stolen off a homeless person.
Oh, yeah.
Well, okay, guys. Today we are talking about Hook,
The classic
Hook.
tale of a young boy
who gets stolen from his parents.
By an old creepy man.
by a fairy.
Yeah, it's by a fairy. He gets stolen by a fairy.
Does he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he runs away and then gets stolen by a
But
fairy.
he doesn't run away because he can't walk. He's literally a toddler. He gets
Oh.
pushed by the wind.
See, here I was thinking we were talking about Peter Pan's kids. Because they're the ones who get stolen.
Yeah, by an
in
old
the-
man.
Yeah, by an old man.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into that once we rewatch the movie, considering we've all seen Hook a million times.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I saw it a lot growing up. I think we had it on VHS. I remember that VHS tape.
Well,
That was a big movie at the time,
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll get into this one after we do talking trailers, but I had it on VHS. Well, I didn't have it on VHS. My grandma.
She stole it on VHS.
Wow. You're
Yeah. It's that Midwest in me, you know.
always
Don't
stealing.
you know?
Don't you know?
That's a real bad. That's a real
bad.
Minnesota accent.
Oh, no,
there.
that was real bad,
That
eh?
was real
Yeah.
bad.
Hey.
Okay.
But Joe
Talking-
had a great idea for talking trailers today.
I did, it's true.
Since it is coming to the end of the year, we thought we'd talk about some of our favorite movies of the year
So far,
so far.
And that year would be 2023.
the year of
No?
our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, 2019.
Oh, that's where we
yeah,
are.
Joe, I'm sorry. You have been time traveling through too many dimensions.
I got time lag.
Yes.
I'm all kinds of messed up.
So, who would
Wait
like
until
to
you guys see who wins
start?
the election. You'll be really surprised.
Shut up, Joe.
Oh God. Who wants to start?
I'll start.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just gonna like read through my list really quickly.
Yeah.
I guess, and then you guys react accordingly.
All right.
And this is in chronological order of how they were
Yeah,
released.
mine will
were
be in
released.
chronological as well.
Yeah.
Mine will be in autobiographical order.
Oh,
So,
nice. So
Alphabetical?
it'll start as when he was a child, a
Yes.
small child.
My journey up until this moment in time.
Okay.
Lego Movie 2, the second part.
Mm-hmm.
Fighting with My Family. Apollo 11, the documentary. Captain Marvel. Avengers Endgame. Long Shot. Toy Story 4. Let's see what else I got here. Yesterday. Spider-Man Far From Home. The Peanut Butter Falcon. Hustlers. Ad Astra. Joker. Jojo Rabbit. Ford vs. Ferrari, which just saw somewhat recently. And then, but my surprise movie, I was like, wow, I didn't think I was going to like it that much. The Kid Who Would Be King, which came out back in January.
I heard that movie was
Oh. It was
actually-
surprisingly good.
That
was.
movie did not look good at all.
Yeah, no, it looked at me.
Yeah, and I think we saw it because there was nothing else out, and I was
Uh-huh.
mildly curious because
Yeah.
I really like the director, Joe Wright.
because he really likes
I have to support guys called
Wasn't
Joe.
Stephen Merchant in that?
No, but he wasn't Fighting with My Family. He
Yes.
directed that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kid Who Would Be King was actually really well put together, and really Patrick Stewart was in it. He was Merlin.
I think I was getting that mixed up with another one that's kind of similar. It's like a Harry Potter-ish, but it's... I don't think it ever came out.
Oh, one of those kind of movies.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
think
movie that only exists in her mind.
Yeah.
I watched the trailer for it, and then I heard nothing else about it, and I don't even remember the name of the movie.
Huh.
So it could have been a mild hallucination.
Could have
Yeah,
been.
it probably could have.
Or
been.
like really bad hallucination.
I mean, yeah, she's very sleep deprived.
It's true.
Oh,
But yeah, I really liked that film. It was a lot of fun. I talked to Elliot about it actually, because he and we both saw it, not together, but we both saw it, and with women who thought it was just okay. But we really
it seemed
enjoyed
like
it.
a boy movie.
Yeah, for sure. And I think if I really liked it as a grown ass man, and if I'd seen it when I was, I don't know, 10 or something like that, I would have. It would
have
be a
been your
movie that I
favorite
would
movie.
be talking about as a grown ass
Yeah.
man as one of my favorite movies growing up.
Interesting.
I really liked it though, and it was really well done. The movie I hated the most. I mean, like, fuck this movie, fuck you movie, and making me sit through you. The new Hellboy.
Oh yeah, you really
was-
did hate
yeah,
that
you-
one.
So
Hated
bad.
that so
Yeah.
much.
Well, especially because, like heritage-wise, I like the graphic novels. I like the Del Toro films.
Yeah.
I love the Del Toro films.
They're great.
And this movie was just loud and gross. There was a bit where like Sarah left 'cause she had to go to the bathroom, but she also was really not enjoying the movie.
Yeah.
And she left, and she was gone for a while because she didn't actually want to come back. So she just
Yeah.
like played on her phone for a little bit or something. And she missed this whole sequence that, I mean, rightly so. I wished I had left, and I was just sitting there watching this movie, and I was like, I'm glad Sarah's not here for this bit. This is unnecessary.
This is graphic.
Yeah, it was such a bad movie, so bad.
Yeah.
And it was directed by the same guy who did Dog Soldiers, which I love. So that was a shame too, because I was kind of looking forward to it. So anyway, those are my films.
Those are Joe's top 57. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know how many you rattled off.
That was at least 57.
Yeah. No, I definitely did not watch a lot of movies this year.
Surprisingly, because you had A-list for like a couple months.
I had A-list for like maybe 3 months, and then I was like, I only went like one of the months,
Yeah.
and then like the other 2 months I didn't go, and I was like, this is not smart. This is not a smart move
I don't
on my
think you
part.
even canceled it. You just lost your credit card.
Yeah.
And it just
It got canceled for me, so it was like the universe was giving me a sign. It was like saying, you know what, buddy? You're kind of shit with money, and this isn't working out for you, so let's just cut it right now. But the ones that I did, I've only seen like a couple. I've seen like maybe like 5 to 10 movies.
You've
this year.
seen the big movies.
I've seen the
that
big
came out.
movies of the year, yeah. So, obviously Avengers Endgame,
Yeah.
that's huge.
Masterful.
Great. I really liked it. It was a satisfying finale for this
For
thing that they've
11
been-
years
yeah,
and
they've been
22
building.
movies. I mean, that they could stick the
Yeah.
landing was amazing.
I saw Joker, which I thought was really good. I will say my favorite movie of the year so far, and I don't know if anything's going to change it really, has been Booksmart.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah. You told me how great it was, and I was like, whatever, Amy. And then I watched it with my roommates, and we were all like, holy shit, this is a really fucking good movie. Like, I wasn't really expecting anything out of it. I really had no interest in seeing it. You told me about it, and I was like, and you're like, you gotta see it, it's really good.
yeah.
And I was like, whatever. And then, like, I don't know, I think it was like on, we rented it or something. I don't
Yeah.
know. And yeah, I was like blown away by
No, wait,
it.
Yeah.
didn't you? I gave you the Blu-ray to borrow.
Maybe. I don't remember how I watched it.
That movie actually almost made it on my list,
Mm-hmm.
but I as I was like looking through all of the releases of this year, and then I saw it was on there, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. And
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no.
that was the only reason why I didn't put it
No,
on, because
no.
I loved it, but I also forgot about it.
Because this is the movie that stuck with me just because I was like, every other movie has at least lived up to what I expected out of it that I've seen so far. Like, I haven't gone to the theater and seen a bad movie this year. I've seen
Yeah.
movies that I've liked less, maybe, but
Oh, you clearly didn't see
Yeah.
Terminator: Dark Fate.
no, because I knew that I don't chance it on movies. Like, I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm going to go into
Yeah, I
this
think
movie.
it's
I have
because
A-list,
you have
so
to
I can-
actually spend money on
Exactly.
your movies.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
only go to see movies that you know will be good.
Yeah, well,
Surefire.
I know that I'll at least like. They might
Yeah.
not be
The guarantee.
good.
Where
ones that-
Joe
yeah.
Joe
Yeah.
goes to see whatever movie's out just
Yeah.
because he has A-list and for fun, and I go because it's kind
Yeah.
of part of my job.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but Booksmart was definitely the one that I went in like not really caring about or having really any expectations, and it blew me out of the water. So
Yeah.
that's definitely been my favorite movie of the year.
Yeah, that was a good. That was a
Yeah.
good film.
It was like
Any
surprising.
surprises?
Was
I
that-
guess Booksmart would have been a
Booksmart, yeah, that's
it's your
my
favorite and a
surprise.
surprise.
I
Yeah.
mean, there's another one that I really want to see. The new Noah Baumbach.
The divorce.
Yeah, well, the marriage story.
The
I think
Marriage
it's called.
Story.
Oh, Marriage Story.
But that's gonna be on Netflix soon.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
gonna be on Netflix and sometime later this month.
Is it
And
Netflix or
Irishman.
Amazon?
It's in Netflix. Yeah. I was looking through everything that is coming out in December.
Yeah.
Because spoilers, we're recording this before December. But yeah, it comes out I think mid-December, probably like a week after this episode goes live.
Yeah. So there's that one.
Yeah.
The Irishman.
Mm-hmm. Which I've heard is great. A friend
Yeah,
of mine
I've
saw
heard
it,
amazing
and-
things about
Same.
it.
Yeah.
It's his
And-
best film.
Yeah.
And Star Wars. So
Yeah.
it's like
hell
those
yeah.
those three are like the ones that I have left that I'm
Yeah.
like really
Like-
looking forward to.
2 of those will not be out by the time this podcast goes
Yeah.
live.
So So we'll see. But so
Irishman comes
far,
out next week.
I mean, like, yeah, I'm trying to think of like other ones that like really, was like really like, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like Avengers that I really loved.
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Yep.
Obviously.
That was so good.
There was another one that was not comic book related.
Captain Marvel came out this year also.
That was on my
Captain
list.
Marvel.
Yeah.
Captain Marvel's not on my list. I liked it. It's fine. It's a perfectly
Once
serviceable.
Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That was the other one that wasn't a comic book one that I really, really liked.
Mm-hmm.
I realize I only see comic book movies, and then when someone tells me a movie's really good, and
Yeah.
I value their opinion, I'm like, all right, I'll see it.
Does that mean you value my opinion?
I know.
Oh,
I
he
know.
let that slip. You let it slip.
No.
Should have taken that to your grave.
No, I said it on purpose. I was like, she's gonna love this.
Oh.
Yeah, thank you. That makes me feel so good.
Well, I mean, you
Her
were right.
heart
I
just
can't.
grew 2 sizes.
I
I
know.
saw it happen.
I know,
Yeah,
right?
it's gonna burst out of my chest.
Chest burster.
It's like in the animated Grinch when he like pulls the X-ray over
Yeah.
and it just
He's
explodes
doing
the
it.
X-ray. Okay, so I have a pretty long list for love, which is surprising. So and this is also in chronological order.
Mm-hmm.
Happy Death Day 2,
Oh, yeah.
Captain Marvel,
Yeah.
Us, Avengers Endgame, Booksmart, Toy Story 4, Yesterday, Far From Home,
Yep.
The Farewell, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood,
Oh, The Farewell. That was so good.
Oh yeah, that's
The Farewell,
yeah.
Joker. Oh no, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Joker, Parasite, and Honey Boy are like my favorites.
I will say, you just reminded me. Yesterday, I really loved. Also, did Rocket Man come out this year, or was that
Yes,
last
it
year?
did. That
Last
came
year,
out-
it was late. Was it?
No, I think it was this year.
Was it this year?
Yeah.
I think it was this year. Anyways, I saw Rocket Man, and I really liked that.
That was good, too.
Oh yeah, Rocket Man. Rocket Man is on my list of movies that surprised me this year. Because
Yeah.
I was like, this is gonna be like Bohemian Rhapsody. That's why I was thinking. It would
Well, the
come
same
out. Yeah.
director, too.
No, totally different directors.
Yeah.
Isn't
it
it
was like-
Dexter Fletcher?
I don't know.
I don't know who came in and finished up Bohemian Rhapsody.
Hang on. You read your surprises, and I'm going to try to
surprising
prove
for
you wrong.
me, Fighting with My Family. I didn't think that would be as good as it was. It was amazing.
That was really good.
Oh, but for the one that I loved the most, like if I had to pick a number one, it would be a tie between Booksmart and The Farewell. Like The
I've heard The
Farewell
Farewell is
hit
really
me
good.
in like in a moment where in time.
Yeah.
It was a year after my grandpa passed away, and I didn't get a chance to say goodbye, and so I was like, oh my god, I wish I could have felt this.
Yeah.
But Booksmart also is just fantastic.
Yeah,
really good.
Farewell, same deal. For me and my grandma, and did you see it? It's really lovely.
I've heard
I
it's
think
really
you'll
good.
Like it.
Yeah,
it looks
it's
good.
on it's out on Blu-ray, so you can probably rent it now
Cool.
if you want to. But for my surprising, Fighting with My Family, Shazam, Long Shot was a very big surprise for me because I'm not a huge like
Rom-com.
rom-com or Seth Rogen.
Yeah, that's right.
But the only reason I saw it was Charlize. But yeah, I'm obsessed with that movie. I've watched it 4 times since I bought it on Blu-ray.
I
It's
have to
great.
watch it. You gave me like
Yeah.
I have the file. I can watch it. I just
Yeah.
have not done so.
We
Rocket
bought it,
Man
too.
was a surprise for me.
Which one?
Rocket Man.
Oh, yeah.
Which, by the way, Dexter Fletcher, who directed Rocket Man, did step in and finish
He
Bohemian
was
Rhapsody.
the one who did finish Bohemian Rhapsody. Okay. Stuber.
Weird. Really?
Yeah,
I haven't seen Bohemian Rhapsody because I hear it's awful.
It's
it's not awful.
I feel like
Jinx.
it's gonna be
Jinx again.
fucking nerds. Nobody talk.
We finish
There's
each
a-
other's.
Sandwiches.
Yeah.
Boom.
Jinx.
Shut up. Oh, that's just interesting because
Yeah.
it just seems like such
The
a different
music
movie.
parts of Bohemian Rhapsody are great.
Exhilarating, and the music's great because it's Queen.
Yeah, and like the Live Aid thing at the end is like the best part. Like really
Yeah.
watch Bohemian
Yeah.
Rhapsody just for the Live Aid.
But it's otherwise, it's funny how much is not true, and that's kind of frustrating. I mean, like stuff that didn't need to be faked, and how by the book it is. I mean, like literally, it is. The movie is a tour through their greatest hits. There's even a bit where like some of the characters are arguing, and then I can't remember the bass player's name, but he just sits down and starts like playing. Another one bites dust,
Yeah.
and then they're like, "Oh, let's figure out this new hit song," and then they do, and it's just like.
And like the way they did like Bohemian Rhapsody, like him figuring out how to do all of that and like getting the vocal.
Sounds boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of was.
Yeah. Well, anyways, Rocket Man is not boring.
Nope.
And I like the way they did all that, so I'm surprised that it's
Yeah.
the same guy.
Yeah.
Stuber.
Well,
It wasn't.
it wasn't sort of the same guy because
Fuck Joe.
He has to.
Stuber wasn't a great movie, but it surprised me how many laughs I got out of it.
it was fun.
Yeah, Crawl
Yeah.
It was. I don't think it's a great movie either,
No.
but I really love it. It's so much fun.
Oh, that's the alligator one,
The
right?
alligator, that was a lot of fun.
Ready or Not was really fun too.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's the one, the wedding one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hustlers surprised me, and Jojo Rabbit.
Yeah.
Were surprising. And then I have a big list of dislikes.
Of
also.
hates.
Hate.
The hate is strong
Double hate.
in this one.
Loathe entirely.
Oh, loathe. Wow.
This one I'm gonna get a lot of flack for from the
Despise.
fanboys.
Uh-huh.
Alita. I
Oh yeah, you did
hated Alita.
I didn't even bother to see it. I mean,
I saw that one. I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
I liked it, but then again, I like Robert Rodriguez. I like spectacles of
Yeah.
things, and so that was like it was a spectacle movie. Is when you watch and
Sure.
you know,
Sure.
like I don't think it would be as good. I don't think I would enjoy it, not even as good, because I don't think it's a good movie. I enjoyed it because I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But like I don't think like if I were to watch it like at home, it'd be the same.
Yeah,
Sure.
like I was expecting better performances from the majority of the cast. Christoph Waltz, Jennifer Connelly, who else? Mahershala Ali.
Mahershala Ali,
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
none of them lived up to
spoiler-
their potential. Like nobody.
spoiler.
I did not like the new Dumbo movie.
Oh, that's right. Mm-hmm.
Men in Black International, which is one that I was actually kind of excited for.
Yeah.
That was not
Because
a good
I
film.
love the first Men in Black, but I had like very low expectations for it, especially after seeing the trailer.
And it missed even those.
yeah, it definitely did.
And it's weird because
Me
like
too.
it has like Tessa Thompson and Chris Hemsworth,
Yeah.
and they're
And
great.
Liam Neeson and Emma Watson and
Emma Watson was not in it.
Emma Thompson.
Emma Thompson. Got
Wrong
my Emma's,
Emma.
Got my Emmas confused.
Too many Emmas.
But-
Another one that we saw this year that you can add to your hate list, The Lion King.
Ooh, yeah. Well, I forgot. I just wiped it from my memory.
Yeah.
It's
I would have forgotten about it too if I didn't have it written
the
down.
new Aladdin was hateable for sure.
Yeah,
I
didn't watch
don't.
it. didn't
I
watch
think
it.
I prefer that one. It didn't make my hate list because I prefer it over both the Dumbo and the Lion King.
And the Lion King.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Lion King is so.
I didn't bother to
awful.
see Lion King is how much I knew I was
Yeah.
not going
Yeah,
to be
no,
interested.
it is.
Yeah,
so
you saved
terrible.
yourself 2 hours.
Yeah.
Ad Astra, I really did not like Ad Astra.
I know. And what's funny is I think you didn't like it for all the reasons that I liked it.
Yeah, it was like we were talking. You're like, well, I liked it for this. I'm like, oh, but that's exactly why I hated it.
Yeah.
And then the last one is Gemini Man.
Wow,
You
yeah.
were the only person who saw it, I think.
true.
I think me and the 5 other people in the movie theater.
Oof. Oof.
Yeah.
Will Smith ain't what he used to be.
And hey, remember when we did the talking trailers over the Gemini Man trailer, and I
Yeah.
was like, you know what? I don't like that de-aging. It looks bad.
Yep.
Thank you. Everybody who saw it did
I was
not
like,
like it.
I was like, who are you thinking?
Yeah. So I didn't
Like,
do it.
No, but
Nobody disagreed with you though.
I just remember because I think I'd watched it on my phone really small, and so I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, well, apparently that movie wasn't even. It was supposed to run at a certain frame rate,
Right. It was
Yeah.
not being.
and it wasn't being shown because no theaters could show it that
Yeah.
way or
I don't
something.
know why the hell they do this. It's
Yeah,
like,
I don't know either. It's hubris is what it is.
Well, the thing is too is like people are used to movies looking a certain way, and we settled on 24 frames per second because it looked natural. Like that is
not in the UK.
Well, I mean, for film, because film's always 24 frames. Now, PAL being 25 frames or NTSC being 29.97.
Don't get in. No.
Oh my
those-
God,
just
Joe.
shut up.
But anyway, for film it's always run at 24 frames per second. And we settled on that because it looked natural. And I don't know why they keep trying to change it. Like, you remember the Hobbit movies came out in high frame rates,
Oh,
48
yeah.
frames per second? And people were like, it looks all fake and weird like a soap opera.
Yeah, it
you
looked
know?
really
And
weird.
it's like,
Yeah.
there's a reason, you know? And then, like, James Cameron, when he was working on Terminator 2, the movie was clocking in at a fairly long runtime. And so he had the idea, well, why don't we just remove every 7th frame or something? And that'll, like, over the course of the film, will save us time. And so they did a test, and you see it, like, stuttering
Shudder,
because it
yeah.
just
Yeah.
looks funky.
Yeah.
And James Cameron was like, nope, I was wrong. Let's not do that. You know? So if James Cameron can't figure out how to change, you know,
Maybe we should just leave it alone.
yeah, we should just
Yeah.
leave it alone.
Yeah, Ang Lee.
So
Visionary director Ang Lee. That's what
Yeah.
the trailers all called him.
Visionary, my balls.
I am always suspicious of any trailer that says visionary director, blah, blah, blah. Because already you know they're trying to oversell something.
Yeah.
Zack Snyder gets that a lot, and he ain't a vision of nothing.
Nope.
Yeah.
The vision of a mess.
Yeah, very much so. Was that your whole despise list?
That is
Okay.
my whole, like, I think Gemini Man is the last real bad movie that came out anyways.
Nice.
Clearly, you didn't see. Oh no, wait, Terminator: Dark Fate. You didn't dislike
I didn't
enough
dislike it. I had fun,
Yeah.
but it wasn't like the best movie. It's not like something that I would never ever watch again.
I would not watch it again.
I mean, if it's on TV and I have like I'm just bored because I leave my TV on in the background.
Like if it's on TV and you're too lazy to change it.
Yeah, and I lost my voice and I can't tell Google to change the channel.
Wow.
All right. Well,
Okay, well let's talk about Hook.
Hook.
It's Christmassy time.
Is this
It's
Christmas?
It's a winter movie.
It always has felt like a Christmas movie
Yeah.
without being a Christmas
I was
movie.
like, there's no
really.
Christmas
There's
in it,
there's
right?
snow, I think.
I think there's a
and-
Christmas tree set up at Granny Wendy's.
Is there?
It's not Christmas. Whatever.
It just,
I haven't seen it in a while.
It's holiday in England, which feels Christmassy.
Yeah, and it
I think it's just winter in England.
Winter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most-
that's-
But
yeah.
I think it
most
always
seasons.
plays around like on
Seasons?
TV
We don't have
around the
those.
holidays.
Not here, but
And I remember like this goes into like you said you had on VHS.
Yeah.
And my grandparents had on VHS and I would always try to watch it whenever I would go visit. And that was usually around the holidays.
that makes sense.
So
Yeah.
it's like I watched it on TV now around the holidays and then I watched it when I was younger around the holidays.
There's also something like Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairies, Christmas about
Yeah.
the music, some of the themes.
Oh yeah,
that has
Well, I
always
mean,
sort of struck
it's-
me.
Yeah, interesting. I just never thought of it as a Christmas movie or like
Yeah.
a holiday movie.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
then
I don't
again,
think it's necessarily like a Christmassy movie.
Yeah,
But it's a holiday.
but, you know,
movie.
I guess.
I mean, I don't even think it came out in theaters around the holidays, did it?
December 11th.
Well,
so
then there
actually,
you are.
Actually, it'll be just about math 28 years.
Did you math correctly?
I think I math correctly.
Didn't it come out in 91?
91.
So minus
And
1 year.
we were born in
You
90.
came out in 90.
So, yeah, we had a wide release on the 90.
But yeah,
But yeah,
so,
the anniversary of this movie, the 28th anniversary of this movie,
Yeah.
is going to be in a couple days from when this podcast goes live.
nice. So it is kind of a
I
Christmassy
guess.
movie.
I
time
just,
for
I just don't
Christmas.
associate it with Christmas
Yeah.
at all.
Well, you're wrong.
But it's also, I think,
that's fair.
it's the same way Joe and I associate Harry Potter with Christmas.
Especially
though,
the
too.
first one.
Yeah.
I also don't like Christmas, so I don't associate it
Yeah,
with
you don't
things
like
that I
holidays.
Right.
Yeah, I don't. Bah humbug.
Okay, so so I guess since I was alive when it came out,
Yes.
We were both alive when it came out, just barely.
you were stupid babies when it came out. I was a man.
I was a year old.
I was a full-grown man with
I was
a beard.
I was a year and a half old.
Yeah, so I remember when it came out, and it was a big deal. I later learned that it was a flop because it did not do it was fine.
Yeah.
I mean, it did fine, and it got roasted by the critics pretty well.
Really?
Yeah, but
Interesting.
but everybody my age,
Loved it.
that'd be 6, loved it. Yeah, we all loved it. We thought it was great, and I remember I didn't have it on VHS. We didn't have enough money to buy it, but the kid next door had it, so I'd like go over to his place and we'd watch it.
yeah.
And then I think at some point I taped it off of TV, like
Yeah.
the Disney Channel when the Disney Channel was like
Cable?
paid, like
It was pay premium
It was a
channel.
premium channel.
You had to pay to get the mouse.
yeah,
Right?
you had to pay for the mouse, pay to play.
Well, I do that anyways because I get Disney Plus, so.
I mean, we've all become a slave to the mouse.
We all have. But I loved that movie. I remember taking a knife from the kitchen and running around in the house pretending to be Peter Pan.
Nice.
And desperately wanting to fly because it was like Peter Pan and Superman were still huge for me at that time,
Yeah.
and both of them had the most exhilarating flight sequences set to John Williams music.
I hope you didn't try to fly with the knife.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, attempts were made.
And I'd sword fight with invisible Captain Hook.
Infirmaries were visited.
And they,
all right?
well, you know, yes.
Well, his mom was a nurse, so I think he didn't
Exactly.
even have to go to the.
patch me
infirmary.
up. No, I think I remember. I think I got in trouble when she saw me with the knife. She's like, "What are you doing? This is stupid. Don't do this again." But yeah, no, I loved that movie so much growing up. Yeah.
Yeah, this is probably one of, if not my favorite Robin Williams movie. I think we talked about when we did the Robin Williams
Yeah.
discussion.
Yeah.
It's like it's one of my favorites. This and
Aladdin, Jumanji.
Aladdin. Yeah, I think Aladdin might be my favorite,
Yeah.
just because it's like my favorite animated Disney movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, like live action Robin Williams. This
Flubber.
Jumanji, Flubber.
Yeah.
Flubber was a big one when I was a kid.
No, what's the one? Is it like Jack?
Jack, where he's the
Yeah, he's like the kid but adult. He's
accelerated aging disease,
yeah,
like
yeah.
reverse Benjamin Button.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always did wish I could have been part of that food fight, because that Play-Doh-y, sherbet-looking stuff.
I just remember all of the food looking so good in the movie.
Yeah, well, it was all this like weird. It looked like sherbet, but also Play-Doh.
Yeah, it did. It was all these bright, vivid
Yeah,
colors.
I always wanted to be in that food fight, even though like that's my like worst nightmare.
Yeah.
But also to try to eat that stuff. 'Cause
Uh-huh.
it's like I wasn't.
It's like flying through the air. You just be like, ah.
Well, we all know
Chomp.
food is my favorite thing in the world.
It's true.
Snacks are your favorite
Snacks.
things in the world.
Yeah, that's food though, right?
Not the way you do it.
I mean, kind of. It's like, it's food adjacent.
Snacks is not it's not a thing that you eat in between meals. It's a meal for me.
It's a meal. It's the meal. All right. Call me when you got snacks.
Taco Bell like fifth meal.
You don't ask Amy out for dinner. You ask her out for snacks.
Yeah.
That's how it works. That's the key to Amy's heart.
Yep.
Snacks.
Snacks, man.
Yeah, like I said, we had it on VHS and we watched it, but not like maybe a lot. I don't have like a lot of big memories about this movie. I just remember watching it and liking it. Being like,
Yeah.
cool. I mean, I liked the Disney Peter Pan a lot.
Yeah.
And so I liked this one, but it was always felt strange to me.
Mm-hmm.
It was always because I had watched the Disney Peter Pan,
Right.
and that was like my understanding of Peter Pan. And,
Sure.
Yeah.
and it was weird seeing it.
A movie where for more than half of it he is not Peter Pan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that was
So-
my same like initial thoughts when I first watched this.
Yeah.
Because I was like, that Peter Pan left Neverland, and
Yeah.
Wendy grew old.
Yeah, I was a little confused by it as a kid.
Yeah.
Watching it, and I mean it was fine. I remember it being fine.
So one of the things that we've talked about in the past is that there were a lot of movies and TV and stuff that you saw in Spanish first.
Yes.
Yes.
Was this one of them?
Yes.
Interesting.
Wait, not Hook.
The
Disney
Peter Pan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Hook was. I was here already.
Yeah.
So,
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay.
Well, let's
Shall we watch
the
it?
movie.
Please watch.
All right.
And now, our feature presentation.
We always do the Wayne's World thing now. Well,
Good one, Shaggy.
do we want to ask the question? Does it hold up first? Because I feel like we've all seen this, and like
Yes.
And recently, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
I
maybe,
watch this at least once, if not twice a year.
Me too. Probably usually around this time of year. I think, too.
I've not seen this movie in like at
Maybe
least
since
a decade.
VHS?
Well, then
Yeah.
we should. Then what do
So
you?
then, Johnny, yeah.
well, tell us what you think of it.
I liked it. I liked
Yeah.
it a lot. I thought it was. It felt. I mean, it's classic Spielberg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like to a T.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, this is like really good.
Mm-hmm.
Like
But you didn't like Goonies.
That's because he hates Richard Donner. He hates my man, Richard Donner.
It could be
'Cause
that.
I feel like they have a very similar vibe.
They do have a
do.
very similar vibe, but I just have a closer association. Well, not a closer association, but I have more fond memories of just Peter Pan in general.
Yeah.
And so, like that movie, like I kind of get the characters at least are familiar
Yeah,
to me.
yeah.
Whereas in the Goonies, like I just
Yeah.
know of them.
So if you had not seen this when you were younger, do you think you would still like it today?
This movie,
Yeah.
yeah, because I was saying like it had been a long time since I had watched it,
Yeah.
and I forgot a lot of it. Mm-hmm. And so watching it again, I was like, this is a really good movie.
Yeah.
Like I really enjoy it. There's a lot of layers,
Yeah.
Like an onion.
like onions.
Not everybody likes onions. How about
How about
Parfait.
Ooh,
Parfait.
parfait. No, 'cause-
Everybody
you
likes
never
parfait.
eat anybody that says, "Hey, you want
Hey,
parfait?"
hell
Hell
no,
no, I
I
don't
hate
like no
Little
parfait.
Can we add Shrek to the list, you guys?
Is it not on the list?
I don't think so, but I love Shrek a lot.
Who doesn't love? Actually, a lot of people don't like Shrek.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Amy, how
Yes.
about you? What does it hold up?
I think it holds up.
Did you change? I mean, you've seen it and you see it recurringly like every year, right? So it's like, yeah, your opinion of it hasn't changed, has
Yeah.
it?
But I feel like watching these specifically to see does this hold up versus I'm just watching it because
Yeah,
I
for
like
fun,
it.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
actually examining it. Did you feel the same way even watching it for this purpose?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some things that I was like, oh, that's a little different, or I don't remember that because I hadn't been like watching it very closely.
Yeah.
But I was like, yeah, it's still a fun movie. It's still very like heartfelt and
Yeah. Sincere.
yeah, it's a very sincere movie.
It's a sweet, honest
Sweet,
movie.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it's funny because watching it again to be like, all right, do I actually really like this movie still? I do. I like it a lot. I think it's all of the parts where it is strong. It is so strong. I mean, when the build up to him remembering his happy thought.
Oh yeah.
And then
really
flying
good.
through the trees and it is.
It reminds me that specific thing reminds me of Superman.
Yeah, it's very much so, and it's just it's a sweet scene and it's beautiful and it's exhilarating and I feel like in this age of movies that can literally show us anything now without any sort of handcuffs on the creative process, I feel like it's rare to get that feeling from a movie. Even today.
And also we're just older and cynical and
Yeah.
the world's shit. So
It is that. That's you're too right. But I was also identifying some of the things that are a little weird. Like I do think it is kind of weird that this is a Spielberg film because it's sandwiched in between Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Always, which I don't know if you remember that film, but Richard Dreyfuss, John Goodman, and he's like a pilot that dies, and he's a ghost that comes back, I think.
I don't think I've even heard of it.
Yeah.
When I think of Always, I think of Severus Snape.
Always.
same.
And then right after
Or the
he
Blink-182
does...
song.
Right.
The what?
Blink-182 song.
Oh, yep, that too.
I have no idea what that is.
I know. Keep going.
And then on the other side of Hook is Jurassic Park and Schindler's List.
Oh,
Wow.
how interesting.
Yeah, so it's like sandwiched in between.
Yeah, because this doesn't feel like any of that.
Yeah, and it's funny because like right before Hook, it's Color Purple, which if you haven't seen that is an amazing movie that you kind of only want to watch once because it's
Is
like
that the
hard to
one
watch.
with
Whoopi
Oprah?
Goldberg,
Oh, Whoopi
and
Oprah?
Oprah, yeah,
An Oprah.
and it's a good movie, and I remember like I grew up watching Whoopi Goldberg on Star Trek, and then seeing her in this, and I was like, I always liked Whoopi Goldberg, and then I was like, oh my god, she is so good.
Yeah.
And I think she EGOTs actually because she won the Oscar for that film. I think that's
Yeah,
what put her
she's
on the
an
road to
EGOT,
EGOT.
yeah.
But then you've got Amazing Stories, which was a big deal, and Empire of the Sun with young Christian Bale, and then Indiana Jones: Last Crusade, and then Always, and then Hook, and it's just kind of weird.
It is like a strange because it doesn't like really fit into the previous movies and then the movies that he does afterwards.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's
So it's weird. It's weird that it's a Spielberg movie.
Yeah, but it feels like so
it feels
so
like
much so, and it's Dean Cundy, I think, his DP, who he worked with a lot too. And I mean, the brilliant Dean Cundy, who worked with John Carpenter and Zemeckis, and I mean, this guy shot all of our favorite movies basically. But so that struck me, and then something that has always bothered me a little bit is the seesaw between the lethality of the fights with the pirates and then like the kiddie jokey stuff with like shooting eggs at them. Because, like, Peter is full-on killing folk. I mean, he is running them through. There are dead men laying all over the place. Yeah. And then you've got these lost boys, some of whom are killing folk. Yeah. And other ones are like, I'm going to bust an egg in your face, you know? I'm a fat kid that's just going to roll through y'all, you know? It's just like, it's weird.
It's a weird tonal shift.
Yeah.
Like,
and the movie makes it work, but if you sit there and think about it, you're like, hey?
Yeah, like as a kid, you're like, this is like, it's like, it's cartoon violence mixed in with real violence, and you're just like,
and it's got that A factor that makes you go A.
Yeah.
A factor.
That's stolen directly from Flight of the Conchords. So that was something that kind of stuck with me. All right, should we talk about things that we did love about it though?
Yes.
Amy, do you mind if I go first?
Go ahead.
Because
I was waiting for you to just go.
I'll just keep going. So firstly, also on looking at it, the music is a huge part of this film. John Williams. But what I also never really noticed until this viewing was there's the theme, that's that beautiful sort of tinkling theme that's in the beginning during the play. And then the section where it's him being a businessman, it's this horrible jazzy like early 90s music.
I didn't catch that at all.
And then as soon as
that I'm like thinking back on, I'm like, oh yeah,
and it's like this is like do 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 do, you know, and then
especially when they're doing the like cell phone shootout.
And so I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then as soon as they get to England, boom, back to the John Williams score. And the movie stays that way for the rest of it. And I thought that was kind of interesting.
That is interesting.
Because that businessman stuff is where the movie feels the most dated in a lot of ways. You know, the fashion, the phones, all that stuff.
The jargon.
Yeah, the jargon.
Yeah.
But I thought that was kind of interesting. And then I did always love, and I assume you all caught this and knew about it for a while. But the voice of the captain on the plane is Dustin Hoffman.
Real, is it?
Yeah,
Really?
the captain on the plane is Dustin Hoffman.
I never caught that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I never caught that either.
So that's just kind of like a cool little thing, you know?
Yeah.
Let's see, what else? I mean, classic Spielberg bad father stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And how when he's like, like, look what Jack drew. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, is that the plane on fire? Where's my parachute?
And she builds him a parachute later and calls it a hug.
Yeah, which is really sweet. And I do love how like frightened he is. Like,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
terrified.
He's
He's
like-
this sweaty, gross mess on the plane.
Although the plane scene, I was thinking like, because they do that like with the turbulence, and there's like the pan
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
over it, and like everyone's got like food,
the
and
food,
like
and they're
trays,
trying to eat, yeah.
and like a lot of leg room, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
That's not a real
that's
thing.
not flying.
That's not a real thing.
Not today. It's not.
Yeah, and I was like, that ain't fucking shit.
And then let's see what else. So something else that always kind of struck me is Maggie Smith always struck. This was the first movie I ever saw of Maggie Smith.
Me too.
And
I mean, seeing it now, and I'm like, oh, that's Maggie Smith.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
my really only thing with her is just
Harry
Harry
Potter.
Potter. You
Yeah.
know,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously this came out before that, so I had seen it for that, but I had no idea like who she was.
Yeah,
It wasn't really
she's
until this
in-
latest viewing that I was like,
yeah.
Yeah, I think most
makes
Americans
sense.
know her from Harry Potter, Hook, and Downton Abbey.
oh yeah.
Although she's also in Murder by Death as a much younger woman. It's because it's from the 70s.
Yeah.
But what's funny about this is I remember thinking, like, gosh, she must be so old. She was
Yeah.
57.
Yeah.
Like they.
That's
Like she always plays somebody
nuts.
Yeah.
old.
And what's crazy is whenever you see her like naturally, she comes across as so much younger. Like if
Yeah.
you see like
Yeah.
sit down interviews with her, even on the set of Harry Potter, you know, she's an older lady, but she has this sort of lightness and spirit to her that kind of reminds you of like your favorite art teacher from school.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know,
Yeah, I get that.
and so it's so weird to be like, whoa, you're not this old
woman
prim
that's
woman
Yeah.
for the past 35
for the past
years.
35
Her
years.
and Julie Andrews remind me both of my mom's mom.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I will say this movie does contain two of the worst jump cuts in cinema history, in my opinion.
Which one?
Okay, so there's when he gets hit in the head by the baseball, and then he falls down. So baseball hits him, conks him. He falls down, and then there's a cut in of him laying on the ground, but he's in a completely different location.
Only you would catch that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's so bad. And I pointed it out to Sarah when we were watching it. She was like, oh.
So
and-
now I have to rewatch this again and and watch for that.
And then there's another one that I think was more necessity of like the harness that he was using, the flying harness, because it's right after when Hook says, "I'll come after you and your children and your children's children," that whole thing. And then he puts his kid down, takes out the sword, and flies up. And there's this long shot of him flying, and then there's sort of this bad attempt at a match cut for when he comes up and lands right in front of Hook. And those are the two bits where it's just like, whoa.
Who got drunk and edited this movie?
And the thing is, I got to meet Michael Kahn once, and it was really quick, but I kind of wanted to be like, what's with those two cuts in Hook?
Yeah. I wonder if it's just the coverage that they got.
I think so. I think
Yeah.
I think they just had to make it work. But I pointed out those things to Sarah, and I'd like to point them out to you too as well, so you can never.
So now you just ruined our
unsee
viewings
it.
of it.
Yeah.
There are some things that I didn't realize until now that really bother me and have always bothered me.
Like what?
Like
Interesting.
how does Captain Hook get back and forth between Neverland?
Right.
Yeah.
I assume on like a Flying Dutchman, flying ship kind of business.
Because I was like, does he still tink and use her fairy dust? Because you don't really see her using the fairy dust all that much.
Or if there's evil pirate fairies.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a real sort of striking green cast to that fog that sort of blows the doors
Yeah.
open.
Yeah.
And I just assumed that he had some.
He
of
had
his
magical
own magic,
powers.
Yeah.
Something, some way, or maybe it's Tink goes the nice flying way, and he goes through the underworld or something.
Maybe,
There's
like
it's
Hades
harder
or
to
something,
go.
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I did. I
That is a good question. I don't think I've ever thought about that.
And what's
Yeah.
interesting is they blow the top story windows open, but then he clearly
Goes
walked
to
in
the
through the
front.
front door
Yeah.
because he
Yeah.
just gouged out a section of the wall, which I always
Yeah.
thought was cool. And he just like went through everything.
That is when they go back to the house
Yeah.
and they see like all that stuff. It's great design.
It's frightening
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Like
It is really terrifying.
It's a really great build up to where are the children.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like you see Liza and Toodles, and they're like freaking out.
Well,
Yeah.
and it seemed like they,
Well,
they
I think
terrorized
I think
Liza.
he did come from the like you see. I think the smoke just like comes in through all of the windows or something because Toodles was laying on like a couch or something,
Mm-hmm.
and you see the green hue and the smoke kind of coming in.
Yeah,
and Toodles
he's
like
like-
sits up and
and
he's
he's
like,
like, "Hook!"
yeah,
Yeah, which was cool because I don't think I ever noticed that Nana's barking goes from like woof woof to hook hook.
really,
Yeah, like the dog bark actually
Huh.
turns
Maybe,
into
I don't-
hook,
maybe
and
I
then
just didn't have the volume turned up high.
and then
loud
it wakes up Toodles, and then he's saying hook hook, and then he realizes
Yeah.
what's going on. He's aware of it,
Mm-hmm.
which I thought was cool. I don't think I'd really noticed it until this viewing.
Something else I didn't notice, and well, I think I've noticed it before, but like I didn't really notice it until I just watched it again. Whereas when Tink first comes into the nursery and she like runs into Peter and he's laying there with his glasses upside down, and she like walks on his shirt. And
Oh,
there's
the little footprints. Yeah,
And I
she
was
steps
like,
on
"Oh,
the ink
that's-
pad.
Yeah,
yeah, and
I'm
those.
like, I feel like that's a callback to the animated Peter Pan because I think she does
Yeah,
that when
she
she's
does.
in the nursery. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for like a map. She does it like on the
Yeah.
map.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
There's a
'Cause they're-
few. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say they have a lot of callbacks to like when Peter
Oh, yeah.
Pan's stage performance and stuff.
And the
'Cause-
shadow when he.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I love the bit, and they. I was gonna say the shadows, like the visual theme of
Yeah.
the shadows, just how it alludes to obviously the animated movie with him catching a shadow and the shadow being like a trickster sort of deal. But I mean, it's great uses of just. There's this one shot when he's still like businessman. They're still at the beginning, and he's like going through the room, and it's just like his long shadow cast on the ceiling and the wall.
Yeah.
and he like goes into frame.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just
Yeah.
such a good little like you're like you catch it.
Yeah.
like some things like that I wouldn't have noticed as a kid. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and it does it a couple of times with
Yeah.
with Peter. I think with Hook as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's another shot. I think it's like 3 instances of like these really long shadows, and like that's all you see, and then the person comes in.
That's
Rule
really
of threes,
cool.
man.
Yeah.
It was just like when you're a kid, you would just enjoy bright colored things
Yeah.
and have fun. But then as an adult, there are things that I can look at. It's like the craft of it all. Like I'm
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that's
Well,
fucking
especially
Spielberg.
with like having a production like background experience and stuff, like knowing all the things that go into that.
Yeah.
Just
And the
so
thought that like
Yeah.
nothing is in a movie accidentally.
Yeah.
Especially something like that.
But I just really liked it, and I was like, and I like the callback to the show where you're seeing like his adventures, and then
yeah.
it was really good.
It's funny. Speaking of things that there were things that you enjoy or don't notice as a kid necessarily. There was something that I always noticed and was still very strong for me is the sound design of this film. The sound of like when he drives his hook into the railing of the ship and just that heavy
Yeah.
clunk, or when Tink sticks her dagger into his nose and just goes. Or the just it's so satisfying the sounds in this film. I love that.
Yeah.
That's something that I just there are specific sequences where I'm like, oh, I love that sound. It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it was like when I found out knowing who Dustin Hoffman was and found out that he was playing Hook, because like when I was younger I was like, oh, I don't know who Dustin
Yeah.
Hoffman is. But after like
We weren't
seeing-
watching The Graduate at 1.
Yeah. But, like after seeing movies with him and then I'm like, that's still like he just goes into his roles all the time and it's just like he's absorbed by it. And it's like only now just like sitting there staring at Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah.
Like especially in that scene between him and Smee.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
like,
I'm going to
okay,
kill myself, Smee.
I finally see Dustin Hoffman back
Yeah,
there, but
yeah.
it took me 20 something years to get there.
Yeah.
He chews the scenery in this, and
He's
he's
pretty
so
good.
He seems like he's having so much fun. Although, interestingly, because I've read about this film, and he was kind of a pain on set because of being
he's
in
such a
character.
method
He's
actor,
such a
yeah.
method actor,
Really?
and Robin Williams is the opposite. He just
Yeah.
does it. He
Yeah,
does
Phil
Robin
Collins
Williams.
said that he showed up 2 weeks early to get immersed in the role.
Yeah. And that's Phil Collins. Imagine how Dustin Hoffman prepares.
Yeah. I was like, wait, Joe.
Yeah. But yeah, so but he just apparently there was like a bit where he was having trouble getting a scene, and then Robin Williams goes, "Oh, Dusty, why don't you just try acting?"
Oh, it,
which
like
is the Laurence Olivier
yeah, that was
famous
one of the
quote.
facts I almost pulled, but I have so many that I'm gonna skip a lot of.
Do we want to get to fun facts?
Well, let me go through
There's
this.
a couple cameos I know Joe wanted to.
So Phil Collins, of course, he's the Scotland Yard inspector in the beginning. There's I'm sure you spotted Glenn Close. She was the pirate that was put in the boo box.
Yeah.
That's like the
famous,
most well-known one.
Which is funny because even when I was little,
I did not know that.
Really?
Until just now.
I didn't know that. This is the first viewing that I've actually watched it closely, and you can see like the eyes are just Glenn Close's eyes.
Yeah. Although when I was little, there was always something that seemed off about that pirate, but it wasn't. But for the longest time, I just thought, is that Richard Dreyfuss? I don't know why, but that's what I thought.
I can see it though because he has those very blue eyes also.
And he can grow a really good beard,
Yeah.
you know. And so I remember just thinking like that kind of looks like Richard Dreyfuss.
But it was Glenn Close.
Right, but it was Glenn Close the whole time.
So are you calling Richard Dreyfuss womanly?
Well, and then there's also David Crosby of Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. He's in it. He's one of the pirates. He's a fellow with a big old mustache.
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
Who's the last one?
Gwyneth Paltrow.
Oh yeah,
Gwyneth Paltrow. It's not really a
super
cameo,
young,
but
Gwyneth
she's like
Paltrow.
super young.
Well, and she's like Spielberg is like her godfather or something like that. So
makes
like
more sense.
she's Hollywood royalty. Her mom I think is Blythe Danner.
Yeah.
You know, she grew up around Spielberg.
This was only her second role though.
Right. Yeah. So she's it's kind of like no fucking surprise that she is who she is. 'Cause she had a lot to stand on.
But I have more that you didn't even list.
Go for it.
So Spielberg is the one that leads the pirates into the march onto Hook's ship with the watch on the pillow.
Oh really?
Yeah. Jimmy Buffett is one of the pirates who attempts to steal Peter's shoes when he arrives in Neverland. And
Jimmy
then
Buffett.
It was actually Jimmy Buffett just walking through the set. I don't think he realized he was
he
part
just
of the film.
stumbled on there. I'm surprised he wasn't wearing like a Hawaiian shirt.
He was like, "It's margarita time," and then margaritas.
And then the
That's his
final one, and
catchphrase.
this is the one where I went ooh earlier today. The kissing couple who begin to float when Semperidus lands on them were George Lucas and Carrie Fisher.
That's interesting.
You know what? I think I read about that. I do vaguely recall reading that.
So I need to go back and watch and to see that because interesting.
That is interesting.
You know, I will say the Glenn Close is going to be safe in that boo box because those scorpions had really big pincers. So those are the safe ones. Just saying.
What?
Okay.
Animal fact.
The fuck are you talking about?
Oh, something I wanted to point out. I just looked at my notes. It's just a weird little thing that I noticed. When they're doing like that whole thing where I mentioned I realized I knew who Dustin Hoffman was. You see Smee like put his fingers in his ears
for the
and
earwax.
then he puts the wax on the mustache. I was like, I never noticed that before.
It's such a good scene too. I just
little
love the
bit.
Smee. I'm going to kill myself. Smee, don't you dare try to stop me. Smee. I'm really going
I've had an apostrophe.
I've had an apostrophe. Epiphany. What?
Baba Hoskins is so good.
Lightning has just struck my brain. I remember when my mom told me that was also Eddie Valiant, and that's what his real accent was, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
You know,
It is.
he's so good. He's so good.
Apparently, Toodles and Wendy in a different draft of the play, in the original draft of the play, they were supposed to be married when they grew up. They were supposed to get married, Wendy and Toodles.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I mean, they still could be. We don't know.
Well,
I do love
Liza mentions that Wendy just didn't have a heart to put him in a home. That's why he still lived with them.
Yeah, because he'd lost his marbles.
Yeah, I love that line. That was my first genuine. I was like, oh, that's pretty fucking funny.
So I have an interesting fun fact that you could not possibly know about.
Not possibly.
So
hit me.
The uncredited second unit director of photography of this film is one Jack Anderson. He was a professor at my film school, Cal State Long Beach, and he told a story that that scene where they put the hook on and then all those flashbulbs go off.
Yeah.
So apparently they were shooting that scene and they'd set it all up. They were doing a test. They started rolling. Spielberg came in just before they were going to start and saw the thing go off. And then he goes, "Oh, that was great. You don't need to do another one. Just print that." And Anderson was like, "Fuck, that was the test. I don't know if it was in focus." But they couldn't say anything. And Spielberg's like, "That's it. You're done. Let's go."
Keep it rolling.
That's why you never do one take.
I know. And so Anderson was just like, "Oh my God." And then the dailies came back and it was fine, and so it was good. But he told that story
he was
just
like
this. Oh shit! Like, what do I do?
Yeah. Oof.
So that's a little thing.
That's a fun fact.
That
Amy.
is a fun fact.
Now that's a fun fact.
That's a real fun fact,
Yeah.
not an IMDb fun fact.
Not an Amy fun fact.
I have a bunch of recastings, unless there are any. I have some other fun facts, but I want to get to the recastings.
Let's do it.
The fun facts aren't like super important.
They're not that fun.
Can I mention just?
Yeah.
This is oddly, besides the flying, one of my all-time favorite scenes in this movie, and maybe of any movie. The little guy Patches, when all the other kids are like on the other line with Rufio, and I do love when he walks. It's like, everybody cross the line if you don't think this guy's him. And Robin Williams is the first to cross the line.
Yeah.
But then they all like step over, and it's just him and that little guy, and then he sort of like he looks around him, and he's like looking on his face, and he takes the glasses
And he goes,
off
"Oh,
and everything.
there you are,
Yeah.
Peter."
That is one of my all-time favorite scenes. It
I
has
love
always
it.
I don't know why.
It is a great scene.
It's so
Cute.
sweet,
It's very cute.
and it just it's I've always loved that scene, and it's always like I think Sarah was talking to me, and I was like, shh, my
Yeah.
favorite scene.
It's good.
So I have a couple. I have a lot of recastings actually.
Okay.
Just for a lot of characters. So Brenda Frickner was supposed to be Granny Wendy, or was originally announced as the Granny Wendy role. Joseph Mazzello was considered for the role of Jack, but was turned down being too young. And then Spielberg promised him the role in the future movie Jurassic Park as Tim.
Yeah, and oddly enough, Joe Mazzello was also the bass player in Bohemian Rhapsody, which we talked about earlier.
In the movie?
Mm-hmm.
That's weird.
Yes, I remember looking that up on IMDb because I was like, why does he look so familiar?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I looked that up a year ago when Bohemian Rhapsody was like getting FYC stuff.
Yep.
Let's see. Toodles. Spielberg originally asked Richard Attenborough to play Toodles,
Oh my God.
but he was directing Chaplin at the time.
Yeah.
But so he cast him as Dr.
Jurassic
Hammond.
Park.
And
John
then Clive
Hammond, yeah.
Dunn was considered for the role upon recommendation from Dad's Army fan Robin Williams. Let's see who else. Peter. Kevin Kline was originally set to play Peter but had to drop because Soap Dish was having reshoots and rewrites.
I love Robin Williams, but Kevin Kline would have been amazing.
But wait, there's more. Tom Hanks was considered.
Whoa.
I don't know if I would like it as much with Tom Hanks.
I don't know that I buy
Because
Tom
Tom
Hanks.
Hanks is America's dad.
But also, like, yeah, it's hard to imagine him being as bad and disconnected and disinterested a father as Peter Banning is. But then also the action stuff would be hard to, for whatever reason, I
Yeah.
can't. I mean,
Yeah.
even though he was in Saving Private Ryan shooting people up,
But it's a different, like, I don't see him flying.
No.
Or sword fights.
No.
Yeah.
I think, and Robin Williams has that physicality about him.
He does, yeah.
That I think works a lot better.
Speaking of his physicality, did you happen to notice how not furry he was?
Yeah, he had to get
Oh
shaved
yeah.
real
I didn't
down.
even think about that.
Like, they had to
Yeah.
take, like, hedge clippers to that man.
That's fucking
Yeah.
hilarious. Why?
because he's so furry.
so-
I mean,
yeah.
I know he's like so furry, but like, I mean, he was a grown ass man.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's just funny.
And, like, his arms, I mean, everything.
Yeah.
He is hairless in this
Yeah.
film.
And then I have some for Hook and for Tink. For Tinkerbell, Winona Ryder was considered for the role. Rebecca De Mornay.
De Mornay.
Oh, I can't tell if it's an M or an N. Cheryl Finn and Samantha Mathis were considered as well.
Oh, wow. Samantha Mathis.
And Carrie Fisher was Steven Spielberg's original prototype for Tinkerbell.
Huh.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And yet, as much as I like a lot of those people, I can't imagine anybody else but Julia Roberts.
But
But I always forget that she's in this.
I'm
at
not
the
Same.
same time.
like, she makes me uncomfortable in this movie, especially when she gets big and tells Peter her feelings.
I don't know why. It's so funny.
She gets big.
She gets big and tells him her feelings. Name your
See,
sex tape.
that's when Tom Hanks comes in.
Yeah. Oh.
That's the
but
things
Carrie-
Amy's are afraid of.
Carrie Fisher also did some uncredited rewrites on the script. For
Oh,
this.
that makes
It's
sense.
one of the things that she did rewrites for.
Uh-huh.
And then for Hook,
It is kind of a, like you said, it is kind of a weird idea, and I think it's carried along very well. And there's not been like very many good live action Peter Pan films. I mean, none, because
because there's like Finding Neverland,
which is
with-
not great.
Yeah, with like
Oh,
Johnny Depp.
Johnny
in
Depp.
that.
No, that's a good movie.
There's the Johnny Depp one, right?
Johnny Depp,
Yeah.
Kate Winslet. No, it's a nice movie.
But it's it's about the.
It's
author,
about Jane
right?
I
Barry,
don't remember
yeah.
enjoying it that much.
Yeah, it looked boring, honestly.
It's
But I know it got nominated for a bunch of Oscars.
Yeah,
That's what I
it's
remember.
a movie that is a movie, and it's got some good stuff to it, but it's not really about Peter Pan.
Yeah, and then there was one with
Jason Isaacs as Hook. And
there was another one.
Oh yeah, that newer one, right? That Pan one.
No,
or
so that
whatever.
was
No,
Hugh
that-
Jackman
yeah, I was gonna
as
say,
not
that's Hugh
Hook. He was like
Jackman.
Blackbeard or something,
Yeah.
some shit like that. It was
But
like
then there
a
was
prequel.
another Jason Isaacs one.
Right, and I've seen both of those. No, I didn't see the Hugh Jackman one, but nobody
I
did.
only saw
and
the
nobody
Hugh
liked
Jackman
it.
one.
Yeah, everyone hated that movie.
Everybody hated it, but I
Right.
saw the other one, hearing like good things about it, and then when I saw it, I was like, "Ooh, no."
Yeah.
So everything, like Hook, may be a weird movie.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like this isn't even really a Peter Pan movie,
But it did it right.
but it did it right.
No, yeah, but it's got that sense of wonder to it.
It does.
That I think none of them do.
There is a movie coming out soon called Wendy, which I don't know if you've seen the trailers for that.
No,
but that
I hadn't even heard of it.
that looks. If it's as anywhere near as good as the trailers, I'm very much so on
Does
board.
it have any names attached to it?
It's the director of Beasts of the Southern Wild. I don't think there are any big names though, and it's like mostly these kids. But it looks beautiful and kind of mesmerizing, and I'm really curious about it. And I just saw the trailer for it
interested.
this past weekend.
Well, I do have a couple recastings for Hook that I feel like would have been interesting. I don't know how I feel about them, but I'm interested to see what they would be like. Donald Sutherland was considered for the role of Hook,
Interesting.
and David Bowie. I'm waiting for Joe to do his David Bowie.
David Bowie.
There it is.
Turned down the role.
He turned it down.
Because he'd already kidnapped one child
Yeah.
already.
Right, yeah. Labyrinth came out in
Labyrinth came out
80s,
before this.
right?
It was in the 80s. I think it was 87, if I remember correctly. Labyrinth was.
87, 85, 86. I don't know. Anyways, it doesn't matter.
86, but yeah, I don't know. I think it would have been interesting to have Donald Sutherland
Yeah.
or David Bowie be Hook, but I feel like it's Dustin Hoffman's
I
role.
mean, he does fucking kill it.
Also,
so.
I mean, just like credible threat, he is legitimately. It's meant to a 10-year-old. I'm huge.
yeah,
You know.
Yeah,
he's so good in that.
yeah, because the threatening. I mean, David
Yeah.
Bowie, you know, kind of, you know.
He was
Yeah,
more-
I don't think as Jareth, he's not like threatening or
No.
scary.
No, he was just
No.
more trickstery.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was sort of a neutral. He just did
Yeah.
what amused him.
Yeah,
and what he
pretty
thought he was supposed to do.
Donald Sutherland.
I could see that.
Almost too scary. though.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like almost too
But
scary.
not having nearly as much fun.
Yeah,
No,
You know.
yeah.
yeah, because he's always like so
Yeah.
Like
serious.
a Donald Sutherland as Hook and Tom Hanks as Peter would have been so weird. It would have been the weirdest movie
That would have
ever.
been.
Would have been
yeah.
pretty strange.
It would have. We would not be talking about it.
No. I don't think it would have had near the popularity.
Yeah.
Well, you guys,
There it is.
that's Hook. You
Yeah.
already answered if it held up or not.
I think it does.
It does.
It's weird, but it's great.
Yeah, it's a strange film, but classic Spielberg, just to feel good. Like
Yeah.
it's heartwarming, it's
Yeah.
sincere.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know if it's because like we watched this as a kid and we had maybe those feelings for that movie as a kid that kind of carry over to us as adults now.
Yeah.
But like you said, like you don't really get we don't get the same feelings
Right.
from movies most of the time as this sort of.
Some movies I know, like when I'm sitting there in the theater and I'm watching, and I'm just like, wow. and it doesn't happen all that often, and
Yeah.
it's not the big spectacle movies. As much as I really love them,
Yeah. Well,
it's not
yeah.
usually from them.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, yeah, the heartwarming stuff usually
Yeah.
isn't in those things, and this
Yeah.
is like a
It's got all of it.
It's got all of it. We saw it at a young, impressionable age, so
Yeah.
of course that sense of wonder still
Yeah.
carries over.
Yeah.
Which I mean, but I think I mean it's part of the theme of the movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like even when you grow up, you still like.
Yeah.
I think people, if you haven't seen it as a kid and you watch it today, I think you'll still get that sense of joy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think sort of going to your point too, you know, the thing about Peter Banning is that he had forgotten everything, including his happy thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think that that's sort of important for, you know, as you get older to try to hang on to those.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
I think that's a good note to end on.
Yeah.
Let us know what you guys think of Hook on Twitter or Instagram at Nostalgitis, Nostalgitis, or nostalgiaeffectpod@gmail.com. And don't forget to be kind and rewind.
Merry Christmas or New Year or
It's
Turkey
not Christmas yet.
or
It's
Valentine.
happy. Just
It's
after
always
Thanksgiving.
Christmas in Johnny's heart and in the shopping season.
Yeah.
Happy beginning of the shopping season, everybody.
Hey,
Oh.
go trample some kids. Get yourself a PlayStation. $2.99. Go now.